starts now.
Good evening. All of us gained an extra hour of sleep over the weekend, but it also cut back on daylight hours because of the time change. The California Highway Patrol declaring this week Drowsy Driver Prevention Week.
Officers are reminding drivers about the dangers of getting behind the wheel when you haven't had enough sleep, saying it's putting yourself and others at risk. 23 ABC's Austin Westfall joins us live in South Bakersfield with recommendations from CHP on how to stay safe on the road. Austin?
Tim, Jess, authorities want to make a statewide conversation out of drowsy driving. This is all coming just as daylight saving time comes to an end. They say there's an increased risk for these types of crashes whenever there's a time change. Now, you might remember some instances as of late where drowsy driving was in the national conversation. This footage is from 2014 when actor and comedian Tracy Morgan was seriously injured and another person was killed when a Walmart tractor trailer slammed into their limousine in New Jersey. The National Transportation Safety Board saying the driver of that tractor trailer had been awake for 28 hours straight. Then there was this viral video in August showing a driver appearing to be asleep behind the wheel of an autonomous Tesla. That was on Interstate 5 near Santa Clarita. Officials calling that very unsafe too. Now, CHP says the only true way to prevent drowsy driving is to get a full night's rest before getting behind the wheel.
If you are drowsy driving, again, it could be as deadly as someone who chooses to drink and drive.
Officer Robert Rodriguez with California Highway Patrol Bakersfield says drowsy driving crashes are frustrating because they're some of the most preventable kinds of accidents that CHP responds to. That's why they're partnering with other transportation agencies to raise awareness to get rest before you get behind the wheel.
It doesn't have to happen where you go off the roadway and crash. We don't want that to happen. We've had, in the last 3 years, we've had over 150 deaths attributed to people that are drowsy driving.
From 2016 to 2018, CHP says there was an average of nearly 7,000 collisions involving sleepy or fatigued drivers annually in California. Those crashes led to 167 deaths. Officer Rodriguez says there's a few signs that will tell if you're too sleepy to be on the road.
If your eyelids become heavy, you start to blink a lot, maybe your mind starts wandering, or maybe you can't remember a couple miles back what happened. All of a sudden you're in a different city and you don't even remember the city that you just came from.
He says if you're feeling that way, it's best to just pull over, find a safe and well-lit area to park your car, lock your doors.
And then just, even if it's a short cat nap, get some rest, get your wits about you.
But Officer Rodriguez says many drowsy driving accidents happen while there are other passengers in the car. In fact, sleepy passengers sometimes lead to trouble too.
You start to yawn, then the other person in the car starts to yawn. And so once everybody else is asleep and the driver's the only one that's awake, pretty soon the driver starts to give in.
And he says many of those situations involve families.
I've seen it to where an entire family is killed because the driver, usually the dad, falls asleep.
Now, Officer Rodriguez says that in his experience, he's experienced most of these drowsy driving types of crashes on freeways here in Bakersfield. He says if you're feeling drowsy while driving on the freeway, you cannot pull over on the freeway. You must get off the freeway if you want to take a nap. In South Bakersfield, Austin Westfall, 23 ABC, connecting you.
Important information there, Austin. Thanks.